Welcome to Get Crafty with Kate. This is the first video in my Learn to Knit series. In order to start knitting, you need to bring your stitches onto the needles, and to do that is to cast on. There are so many different ways to cast on, but for today, I'm just going to stick with the two that are perfect for beginners. To begin, we have to make a slip knot. This is the tail, and the working yarn is on the opposite side. Twist your hand so that the yarn crosses. Then, grabbing the tail, you're going to pull that through the loop. There you have your first slip knot. The first cast on is the Knit It cast on. This is by far the easiest cast on. Insert the working needle into the slip knot or stitch. Taking the yarn in your hand, wrap it around the working needle. Grabbing that yarn that you just wrapped, pull it through that stitch, and then we're going to place it back on the needle. You just cast it on your first stitch. We're going to do this again. Insert the working needle into the stitch, wrap the yarn around the needle, pull through, place it back on the needle. Cast on is my favorite cast on, and many prefer to cast on their stitches this way, and this is the long tail cast on. It's going to give you a much better stretch for any type of hem, for example. Now, I know that the tail looks very long, but like the name says, it is the long tail cast on. You are casting on and utilizing the tail of the yarn to cast on these stitches. It's hard to know exactly the amount of yarn that you need for a long tail cast on. I can't tell you how many times I've had to rip it apart because the tail was just too long, and that happens a lot. To begin the long tail cast on, we're going to insert our thumb and our index finger in between the two pieces of yarn with your other fingers holding on to the yarn. So insert and then separate your fingers like so. Making sure that you are holding on to that slip knot on your working needle, let's begin. First, bring your needle underneath the yarn wrapped around your thumb, and then over the yarn that is wrapped around your index finger and pull it through that loop. Again, we are going to take the working needle and we are going to go under the yarn wrapped around our thumb, and we are going to go over the yarn wrapped around our index finger and pull it through that loop. And there you have it. You just cast it on your second stitch via the long tail cast on. Let's do it again. Under the yarn, over and through the loop. With much practice, the long tail cast on will easily just become muscle memory, and you will be casting on much quicker than what you are starting off as. This was part 1 in the Learn to Knit series, and if you're interested, make sure to check out my Learn How to Knit, Learn How to Purl, and Learn How to Bind Off video. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and happy knitting!